Peace and blessings, y'all. This is your boy Gerald. It is the 22nd of August, 2016. How is everybody doing? So you are in the midst of your weekend. I know some of y'all started your weekend Thursday. Got the But you are in the midst of your weekend. I hope that wherever you are well, you are grounded, you are speaking your truth, and of course, placing God first in everything you do, because without Him in front of your life, you cannot see the things that have not been revealed, nor can you sidestep the things placed in front of your name, in front of your neck, in front of your legacy, in front of your abundance. So it's very, very important that you stay connected, stay prayed up, because guess what? There are going to be those that have tried to gain access to your life that are only waiting in the wind, waiting in the wings to set you back. That's right, waiting to set you back, because see, look, misery loves company, don't it? You know, the one thing I learned about that word misery is also has the ability of showing truth too. Yeah, it does, because it takes courage to confront it. And the only way you're going to be able to confront it is you must allow yourself to be vulnerable to you first. I'm talking about that beautiful person that's found inside you, your spirit. That's right. But see, before you became a flesh and blood and bone on this earthly realm, you was a spiritual being first. You always was. What you see is your life. What you see in the experiences of your life were pre-decided. You signed up for this. Yes, you did. That was the contract that you must fulfill. It is also the only way it can be navigated and protected by way of your purpose. So you've got to have proper tools so that the best you can be not only exemplified, also make the proper impact. Each one teach one is what they said. That's why the days of turning a blind eye are no longer in the equation. That's right, y'all, because guess what? The devil's work is not done. Who am I talking to? This is supposed to be a weekend of rest and recovery, but yet it seems like that is nothing but a pipe dream, because now more than ever, you are being pulled and pushed and being brought into situations that have your name nowhere in the mix, but indirectly you feel the effects of this. Why? Because you are on the verge of entering your spiritual storm. That's right. That is not a word or a figment of imagination. This is real, y'all. This is real. But see, even when you have entered into your spiritual storm, and yes, you can return back, the whole process is to break off the rough edges, to identify the imperfections or the things that were the distractors, to bring them to the forefront of who you are, to truly show you by way of spirit what you need compared to what was only an illusion, what was only a want, what was only a desire. See, not everybody's going to earn the right to know your story, just as not everybody's supposed to know your name. So if that's the case, if not everybody's supposed to know your name and they don't know your story, well, guess what? None of that can happen unless you sign off. So with that being said, guess what? This is when you must trust yourself within yourself and embrace what we know is your discernment. Oh, yes. Because, see, it is very apparent now, y'all, that the opportunists, we are in. We've always been, but we didn't know. We didn't know that an opportunist doesn't need your help to expose themselves. Who am I talking to? And just like crabgrass in the yard, they're popping up with the dandelions to show you that, hey, maybe you need some attention here, more detail there. But what is going on is you feeling the effects of the stress. Let me tell you something. The stress that you're feeling is not to punish you. It is to prepare you. It is to guide you to have courage to love yourself more. Who am I talking to? Do you not yet see how precious your life is? Do you not see that everything about you is unique but significant? That is why you're seeing what you're seeing. But I know some of y'all right now, you can say, Gerald, I can fast forward everything that you just said because right now I'm in hell. How is this possible, Gerald? It was all good yesterday. What happened? How did I turn the corner for this to be my reality? Let me tell you something. What is going on right now? See, first of all, let's not get this twisted. I've echoed this, and I'm going to keep echoing this until the intended heart and intended mind hears it from the inside out. Because it doesn't matter what falls from my mouth. It doesn't matter. I'm trying to reach your spirit. So that maybe that's the reason why your heart is fluttering right now. Maybe that's why you're feeling that in your throat right now, because that's that fear trying to get at you. Keep you distracted. Like, no, don't listen to what he's doing. Don't worry about that, because everything, I can debunk everything. No. See, you got to understand something. Demons got to stay employed, y'all. Who am I talking to? Demons got to stay employed, because if they don't stay employed, guess what happens? They go swimming in that lake of fire, of damnation. Now, how's that relative to your day-to-day? You may be going through a setback right now. And in reality, this was a setback that did not have your name in it, but somehow you connected to it indirectly. It might be somebody that you feel feelings from. Could be your child. Could be Junior. Junior should be where he should be, but Junior is having a problem connecting with you. Who am I talking to? I want you to understand something, y'all. Queens, you know I love you. This is a byproduct of allowing your emotions to guide your steps. And the reality is you're being challenged right now. The end all be all is this can all be turned around the moment that you decide to embrace what should have already been. That means you got to crack open that pride. You got to break off that ego, because see, guess what? You know, people in the cheap seats have always said this. You've written a check that your ass can't cash. But guess what? That's what the devil wants you to think. That's what he wants. Because see, guess what? Let's go back. You do understand that for every opportunity, God chooses. And guess what? Just as he was always there from day one, it was not his responsibility to seek you out. It was your responsibility to humbly stand before him. Why? Because he created you, first of all. All that rhetoric, all that woo-woo going on, what they're doing, you do understand in next year or so, who am I talking to? They're not going to be in your life. They're not going to be there. You've already known that for quite some time, because guess what? If you can't get them to do the littlest things without an act of Congress why are you threatening them to do things to get you to respond to you when that should be just be given Normally, who am I talking to? Don't you realize people that have control issues don't have control within themselves? They don't. Why? Because they act out of fear. They act out of impulse. Why? Because their feet ain't grounded. That's why you'll never find love in the arms of a stranger, King. See, right now, that might be like, you're in that cycle like every day's a amusement park. But, yeah, but eventually you're going to have to pay your fare. Maybe everything that has been going on, the doors that have been opened spiritually, were really just to divide you from your hopes and dreams. You ever thought about that? What about that little boy? What about that little boy that had eyes big as the stars? And the funny thing about it is, you're very intelligent. Who am I talking to? But you don't listen to your own judgment. Why? Why? Who convinced you not to love yourself? Huh? So you're measuring your validation of manhood by what's swinging between your legs? How about what's fostered in your brain? Who am I talking to? You do realize that a man is not based off of what he has in his possessions, what he has internally, because everything that you need is found within you. Why? Because it was given the moment you took your first breath. Who am I talking to? You may be going through a season where you're saying, Gerald, I can get them, but I can't keep them. Why? You're not supposed to be with little girls. You're supposed to be preparing for the one, the queen. She's going to be your queen. She's going to be your rock. She's going to be yoked with you. Why do you think they leave? Why? Because God has stepped in and said, no, not this time. How can you build a future with someone who does not respect themselves? So if they don't respect themselves, what do you think they look at you as? A means of social upgrading? Because that's going on now. You got a lot of little girls with wiggles that think that, well, if I get with, Mr. Cornball over here, he's going to elevate me by opening doors I would never have the potential to do, because I don't value myself to do the work myself, but yet I get caught up with the liability of what's left behind. That's right. You'll never see a man wander around where his drawers is. He ain't worried about it. Who am I talking to? So let's put that on pause, y'all. I want to bring something up to you, because I know that some of y'all have been predisposed in your environment. I'm going to tell you what, the environment that you have will stay that way until you decide to change the way you see the world. And the only way you can change the perception of how you see the world is until you go inside. So how can you call yourself strong if you're not vulnerable to yourself first? Why are you talking about no one loves me when actually you don't love you? You do understand whatever the spirit projects is what makes your reality, right? So if you're going through trauma, why aren't you allowing yourself to heal? I know why. Because you want to listen to people in the cheap seat who have this ideology to get over someone is to get under someone. But don't you realize the person that you get under the next time might be the person that be ending your life? Who am I talking to? If you're using sexual exploit as a way to validate your life, guess what? You're robbing it. Now let's put a pause on that. I'm going to throw something out because I've echoed this for the last 4, almost 5 months. And I got my validation yesterday. It's been approximately 4 months now, y'all, that we started talking about the Zika virus. Doesn't matter. You can go back to the last 5 videos I put out. I talk about it. And I saw a correlation when they opened their mouth to say about this virus. I believe that virus was engineered. But I also saw something that was very pivotal. It had been going on for over a year. I'm going to use an example. How many of y'all have seen the commercial for Kickstart? When it first came out, they used a female that didn't fit the typical image. A little white girl on there, and she was twerking, right? Then it came out, there was a little bootleg brand wannabe I would say like uh, what was that? Mountain Dew was a bootleg brand. Had the girl out there twerking and stuff. Little do you know that they made that commercial because even while you were laughing, they were laughing at you because they were mocking what they see in the environment, which they see a lot of melanated people do, especially in the female community. They did that because they were saying, yes, we can do this, but guess what? We're going to make money and mockery off of what you do normally. So like-minded always attracts. Where's that brand soda at now? They made their money real quick, and I don't think it's out there in the market. But let's go back to that Zika. So I thought it was kind of funny. 2 weeks ago, we were in the Olympics, right? First Zika virus story broke 4 months ago down in I want to assume it was Venezuela, and they were showing the child with the birth defect and stuff, and how the correlation was from this mosquito bite to the mother. Okay, how ironic! We had Olympics in Rio in a tropical dense area surrounded by water, and you heard nobody getting bit. How's that possible? How's that possible? I'll do one better. Viruses are always progressive until they are eradicated. But God said it best. Everything that man needs is found from the ground. All you have to do is have knowledge of what to seek. So you don't tell me that there's no money being made. I bet you if we pulled the profit sharing up for the people to make Centinela candles or off for mosquito repellent, we're making a lot of money nowadays because what's going on is fear is being churned out, and a lot of people spend money off of fear. Now all of a sudden, what's going on? Now we've got cases in Florida. But here's the thing that I thought was kind of amazing. What's been going on the last 2 weeks, y'all? So you've got documented cases of the Zika virus there, right? Well, what state is next to Florida? Louisiana. And currently, what's going on the last 2 weeks? Katrina 2.0. Call it for what it is. It's Katrina 2.0 because they're going through the same thing they went through almost 10 years ago, right? Why is it that the urgency to help those people happen? It's not happening now. Why is that? But let's dig a little deeper. So you got flood victims going through hardships. There's a lot of standing water. So you're going to tell me that is not the perfect breeding ground for mosquitoes? Kind of coincidental, don't you think? I don't think so. Okay. They've already reported a case of Zika virus in Maryland. But this is where I'd already locked in 4 months ago. Because what is the commonality of the mosquito? Blood. So if blood is the commonality, why is it that no one has expanded the research and talked about exposure to hepatitis A or C? Both are blood diseases. Somebody's tracking this. Somebody sees a commonality in it. Why aren't we talking about that? Is the media dumbing down so that you don't get alarmed? But here's the thing that a lot of people don't realize too. So since we're talking about blood connection, hepatitis A and C, then guess what? It's also sexually transmitted. Because anytime that you engage in intimacy, guess what? There's some blood transfer. I can even do one better. The greatest transfer is spirit. Who am I talking to? But we ain't on that right now, right? It all connects. And what happens? You can also birth a soul tie that way, a soul contract. Hmm. Yeah, think about it. Everything ties back to the spirit. What is in the spirit projected is what makes your reality. It makes your experience on this planet. And that's why you see this far too many times. Whoever has the stronger of the two spirits, the weaker will emulate. So guess what? If she's treating you like crap, you're going to emulate what she's done to someone else until you see your worth. Who am I talking to? Who am I talking to? Hmm? So now the CDC finally came out and said, yes, all this is true. It is blood transferable. It is also sexually transmitted. And what they're not going to tell you is people are going to make money off of that because they're banking that there are going to be people that are not going to be responsible for their health. Thought that was kind of ironic. But now what else is going on right now? You got hepatitis outbreaks going on because of the tropical smoothie, for those who have tropical smoothies in location. And they said that it was by a byproduct of the strawberries that were bought in Egypt. Wow. So you bought strawberries from overseas. Okay. What about all these strawberry farms in the United States? So you telling me those strawberries are not good enough? I'll do you one better. Because the average person may not see the correlation. See, I've had the opportunity to go to Egypt. And just even if you hadn't, just look on the map. Where's the agriculture? Because that's a very dry climate. Can you grow things? Yeah, I imagine you could if you have some type of arbitrarium, or some type of biosphere that it's protecting you from the elements. But guess what? That's a human area for the most part. There's a lot of dry dust, a lot of heat. But guess what? The biggest problem, if anybody has ever been to Egypt, will tell you, is the air pollution. It is like LA or New York smog times 5, because you have the populace around the city, not only for what it represents from a historical point of view. So I don't believe that either. I don't believe that at all. I'm like, really? Okay, so you bought strawberries from halfway around the world to make but you got farms in the United States? Really? You make millions of dollars every year. You're gonna. I doubt that. I don't believe that at all. That's just like telling somebody you're running out of gas, but I need you to go to the next state to fill up. But you're going to pass 10, 15 other gas stations before you fill up. Who does that? Come on, y'all. Do the research yourself. Do the research yourself. I don't believe it. Now, is it painfully apparent now that there's some social engineering going on? And I'll do it one better. You see it so evident in what is projected in advertisement, what is put out in media, what is put out even in film. But what a lot of people don't take into account is somebody's making money off of those endeavors. And for what reason is, see, nobody's going to do anything unless there's a an end goal. There's an end goal. And it's gotten so apparent, I believe, within the last 30 years, for the last 15, women, the woman has been under attack both on a financial, social, as well as spiritual level, because they know that if the woman's not stable, if her environment's not stable, two things are going to occur. The first thing that's going to occur is she's going to spend money because she's an emotional being. That's why when God created you, he called you woman. The one gift he gave you was the ability to be the nurturer, the cultivator. You know, he gave you that right. That's why no matter what, everybody's going to have love for mama. That's part of your spiritual essence, y'all. But then the second thing was, if mama's not together, her offspring are not going to be together. They know that too. And if by chance she bears a son, which let's call it for what it is, you can't have no children if you don't have that man. So therefore, you got to sign off on that because he has to give his seed. I had somebody have to give me a nasty-gram, and I'm assuming it was a woman, because nowadays you can't even tell that because anybody can create a profile and say, well, I'm a woman, but really it might be a man, you know. And all things done in the dark come to the light sooner or later. And that's why it's important that you love you and take accountability for everything you stand for, because sooner or later, you're going to take your last breath. And what's going to be left over is your legacy. And in a nutshell, what you stood for. What you stood for, because you're not promised tomorrow. You do understand that. You're not promised this next 10 minutes. You ain't promised that. And God forbid. But see, what I notice is there's a whole lot of non-accountability going on. And guess what? The byproduct is we have wayward children. We have little boys that do not know the road or the path to become a man. Why? Because pride and ego divided the steps of the father. Who am I talking to? He was good enough for you to lay with him, but he's not good enough for him to raise his seed. And that is why we're seeing now more than ever crime level. Even though they'll say it's gone down, this has been the lowest that it's been in 20 years, but every day on a TV near you, there's a story splashed across the screen of another young boy murdered, being incarcerated, being violated. And the two things that come to mind every time I see that, I pray. I pray for the family. I pray for the well-being of that child. But I ask, in my mind, I'm like, where were the parents? What were their role of influence in that? Because that child would have never come to be if the foundation was not set. So guess what? The days of giving Johnny that Xbox and some food to pacify him, nah, the byproduct is his life is ruined. If it's not socially, it is based by health, because now little Johnny has got the immune system of a 50-year-old. He's a diabetic now. He's a slave to prescription pills that he probably never needed, but what he needed was guidance. Don't you realize if your mind's not right, your body follows? You do understand that. Wherever the mind is, the body's going to follow. So if your mind's not right, you're not going to make sound decisions. How about for your family? So, Queen, does it surprise you that you have some that are in your gender that want to wave the flag of there's no good men? as an excuse to justify the bad behavior that they put out. You do understand you was not born to play the victim. Your life is to be celebrated. Your life is meant to inspire those who are going to come from behind your journey. That can be known as your testimony because you are in a dark place right now. Does that mean that's all it's going to be? This is the end all be all? Life stops? No, it stops because you choose it to stop. I've had people say, well, Joe, I got 6 kids and I'm under 30 years old. What am I supposed to do? What you're supposed to do is be honest with yourself, love yourself more, ground your feet by looking at where you've been, understanding where you're going, and finding the commonality of what makes your representation today. You do understand the people in your circle today are not going to be in your life tomorrow. You do understand that, right? It's the linchpin is when you discover that they were no good to begin with. And here's the funny thing is, because through an emotional standpoint, we always want to see the good in all people. But guess what? Like-minded attracts like-minded. So there's that spiritual connection again. You do understand that God is sitting there the whole time. He's saying, you know what? You think I like watching you suffer? You think I like watching you get abused by that person that should have never been there? Who am I talking to? If you was meant to be a punching bag, your head would have Everlast on the front of it. But somehow someone has convinced you you are a mistake. You are a regret. You're not worth the air that comes out of your lungs. Someone sold you this story. But guess what? It ain't yours. Now, this is where I throw the disclaimer out. Because I've got to reach the intended heart with the intended mind with the proper colloquialism or dialect. So I'm throwing this out. And don't worry, if you got to go, you got to go. But this message will be here when you're strong enough to hear it. If someone's ever told you, you ain't shit, you ain't going to be shit because your mama wasn't shit or your daddy wasn't shit. You know why they telling you that? Because guess what? That's how they feel, and they projecting that on you. Who am I talking to? Whoever convinced you that you're only good for something to do. Your only purpose is to rub it, flip it, and swing off the chandeliers. Do you not realize they are robbing you from the bliss, the harmony that's intended by that one that's being prepared right now? And you know what happens? Those people that choose to hold on to that lie, what happens is, first of all, God is a jealous but loving God. You do understand he is real, right? If he wasn't real, you wouldn't be going through what you're going through. Everybody goes through a period of chastising. You know why? You know why we go through a period of chastising? Because that's a tool that he uses to motivate you to do something. Who am I talking to? Maybe you've been sitting in this cycle for so long, you think that that's all you're supposed to do. But silently, within yourself, you're struggling. You're tormented. You shouldn't be that person. You cringe up because you see somebody in a loving union. You know, like they say, a hater has to stay employed. You that person, like, look at them. He all affectionate. But silently inside, that's what your heart is screaming for. Why won't someone love me? Why won't someone be there in the midnight hour just to hear me breathe? Why won't someone come around when I need them? Not because they want to, If you are in a relationship and it's founded not on communication first, you're in the wrong relationship. Because guess what? The human body has a certain cycle. And guess what? Eventually the loving is going to disappear. And the sustainment is what's going to keep the union fresh. That's what intimacy is about. But before you can have intimacy with another person, you got to have intimacy with yourself. And I know somebody's saying, well, Joey, you sound conceited. No, you're listening to a man that loves himself. See, I don't need another person to validate my life. I don't. Because I know God's got me. And I take bended knee before him. I know his angels are there, encamped around my life, placing a protection from the things I can't see and the things I don't know. You know why you don't see everything and the things you don't know? You know why that occurs when it does? God told you already. I'm not going to put you through something you can't withstand. And some of the hardest things you're going to ever go through is truth. Who am I talking to? You thought he was going to be in your life forever. So that one day he opened his mouth and truth came. Or you may be acting like this. If you think your life is supposed to be this, they gave you the bad flyer. You hear that? You're not a cleanup woman. You're not a relief pitcher. But you let those people tell you that. You know, people say, well, you got to get in where you fit in, Gerald. Well, guess what? Who told you to take the first step to get in there? And if that, what you about to step into, doesn't have respect in it, how long you think you're going to stay in it? That's why you never hear about people saying, I'm happy being the stolen moment. Don't you understand the stolen moment is someone stealing time from you? They're time bandits. They're emotional vampires. That's why when you're standing tall, you don't hear from them. You don't hear from them. But let a setback come. Boom. Oh, they are already there to give you their 2 cents. You know why they're there? Because they've been waiting to do this for a long time. Because they love to watch you squirm. They love to see you go through distress. But here's something, too, that you will not know. See, deep down inside, they're embracing that because they're hoping that you'll give up. Because misery loves company. And that's also a challenge that they have yet to master. Who am I talking to now? So what I'm trying to get you to understand is this. When you were birthed to this planet, you was not given a victim card. You understand that? Doesn't matter what your society, your social footprint is. You may have been reared in an environment where you were under poverty. You may have been on the contrary, been reared in an environment where everything was given except for love. Now, the responsibility becomes when the awakening happens, because there's your free will right there. You have a choice to stay in that environment or embrace something better. But the thing is, you have to make a choice. That's where that free will comes. Do I go forth or do I stay? But I have to convey this to each and every one of you. Where love does not exist, nor is God, because God is love. And God has an unconditional love affair for you because he is the reason why you exist. You are his child. So that is why when them blessings come and you're scratching your head like, wow, this occurred, but you know in your heart you didn't deserve it. You know why that occurs? Because God is trying to show you, hey, I'm going to protect you, but I'm also showing you endless possibilities if you go forth and come back to me. Now, you got people nowadays that believe in man. Let's call it what it is. They believe in the wonders of man and how we've advanced as a society, but does it not remind you that we have all the signatures of what was found in Sodom and Gomorrah now? Just look around. You have so many people. That's why I believe why Robin Thicke came out with that song Blurred Lines, because what there should be no gray area between right and wrong. But they want you to stay impartial, stay neutral. That ain't my fight, Gerald. Then I'll be judging. No, what's at stake is you. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. But you have to decide what position you want to be in. And guess what? You'll also see the perception from what position you decide to take. For those who dealing with their finances, okay, you made some bad choices. Okay, so you're supposed to spend the rest of your days shelling your money out unnecessarily, or you can have the courage to look at the truth of your credit report and go through each and everything and come up with a plan to heal it. And that's what I'm asking you to do. Why won't you heal? Sometimes God will show you things indirectly through other people's blessings and setbacks so that you don't go through it. Who am I talking to? Who are we talking to? And this is what got me scared, because for y'all age of 35, I love each and every one of you. But you are under deep threat, because there are those that are the movers and the shakers that have already written you off. And they're banking that you don't see your worth. And they've already said, that's okay. See, they don't care. They're all about the party nowadays. They're all about getting it in now. They don't care. Look, you've got those that have been emphatically proud, waving a flag of impartiality, of saying, well, I'm not a gender. First of all, you're not. You're trying to represent being a spirit, because a spirit has no gender. And you have those that are trying to convince the masses, the impressionable, to think the same. Let me tell you something. If God wanted you to be that, he would have made you that. No matter how hard you... Don't you realize every time you go against yourself, you see the examples of what not to do? Who am I talking to? You setting yourself up for the cliff. Why? Because of what he did to you? So you're going to turn around and say, well, all of them that way. First of all, opening up your perception. You don't know everybody. And guess what you don't know? You don't know the real you. You don't know where you're going to be 5 years from now. But one thing is rest assured is, if you stay on the path that you're on, you're going to attract a whole lot of pain. That's why 2 keys can't open a lock. 2 locks can't open a door. So why are you letting people open you up? It's okay to be afraid, y'all. It's okay. Because fear, finally everything's a reality, is nothing but a display of your emotional makeup. There are so many things about you have yet to do, but you will not be able to see it until you decide to unconditionally love yourself. Why do you think you got that little drawer over there with all them batteries in there? Don't you realize, excuse me, there's no emotion there? Got you doing the five fingers of death, hoping and trying to attach it to a memory of long ago. But don't you understand that all things come full circle? And if you decided to do the work, maybe you would receive the favor and you'll see him again. Who am I talking to? For what you want to do. You want to jump over the fence and try to be brand new. Don't you realize you get no props on being an imitation when you were made priceless? Now let's go back. So there's a war going on with our little boys now, ladies and gentlemen. See the pedophiles out there, the feminists out there, and those who are against the blessed union known as the patriarchy between a man and a woman. These are the people that are most broken because they choose not to love themselves. They love their attributes and the influence that comes with it. But don't you realize God will give you everything you want just to delay you from who you are intended to be, just to cause you to descend into a misery? Do you understand that? You do understand eventually you're going to have to pay. And the price is pain. The effect is denial. The byproduct is distraction and sustainment. Why? Because you're choosing not to love you. So if you don't love you, does it surprise you that they won't love you? Oh, they'll gladly use you. They'll use you just like a pair of socks. And essentially, your temple walls will break. That's why I'm amazed when I see all these young girls out here cutting themselves up and doing things to their bodies for the goal of becoming a object made by Mattel. Don't you notice? Haven't y'all noticed that, y'all? Look at it. Look at a doll that's naked. Look at Barbie when she got no clothes on, and look at what's out there today. You not see the correlation in that? So why does it surprise you that they treat you like the object you try to be? Because Barbie doesn't have a spirit. You do. And when you decide to love yourself, you'll finally be able to see how beautiful you were the whole time. Come on now. You with him because secretly he won't admit he likes what you look like. He likes how you feel. But he doesn't want to marry you. What's wrong with that? And you know why usually that play out that way too? Because you ain't got no moral support. You ain't got no brothers that are going to protect you. You ain't got no uncles that are there to keep you in check. Some of the greatest protection you'll ever need is from you. Who am I talking to? You think, come on now. Come on. Look. How far you think you gonna go by communicating with your ass? Did you fail to realize that eventually your body's gonna age? And actually it ages even more so when you alter it. Who am I talking to? Nah, mama, that cocoa butter is not gonna get rid of those surgical scars. Nah, it's gonna make those get bigger. And what's sad, you got these little girls out here with these low self-esteem because daddy ain't there. And that breaks my heart because I know there's a lot of good dudes out there that want nothing more than to be in their little girl's lives to protect her from her, but protect those who were him from knocking on that door. Because the end result, I think was, who was that? Eddie Murphy said it, or was it Eddie Griffin? He said, the goal of a father is to keep his daughter off the pole. I might have been Bernie Mac. But how ironic nowadays it is the girl that is on the pole that gets more props than the girl that has intellect and intelligence in her brain. What is wrong with that situation? Hmm? What's wrong with that? Where, what happened? Where happened? She ain't got no life skills, so but she getting all this money right now. Now, mind you, I've seen situations where you've had those that use that as an avenue, but guess what? It only lasts for so long. It lasts as long as your looks do. But guess what? I also told you this too. Your body is a temple. It's meant to be protected because if you don't, the thieves will come in and ransack you from the inside out. First, destroying your emotional foundation, then every fiber of you. That's why STDs exist. How about that Zika virus? And then what happens? They get older, they get more bitter, they get more alienated, and then they build a platform because you have not heard not one take accountability for the things they did. You were there. You were there. So guess what? You don't get no victim card. Because I have yet to hear a woman that chose to go down that path say, well, you know what? I did this because of that, and I learned from it. No. They use that as a springboard to justify more bad behavior. So does it surprise you that the last 5 guys you allowed in your life wanted to treat you like a bowling ball? Nah. King, let me tell you something. You do not have the ability to complete a woman nor motivate her to be completed. It don't work like that. What's going on is your spirit will guide you to the one because she placed God first in everything she does. She don't need you for validation. So that's why when you see these gingerbread women out here talking about, I need him to pay my bills, but you never hear them say, well, I need someone to protect my heart. Who am I talking to? So basically, you have a willful agenda of soliciting your body to the highest bidder. But really what ends up happening, you get cut rate, discounted, and disenfranchised from the person that matters. That's you. You don't believe me? Look at the internet. There are hundreds of thousands of women sprayed over the internet. And what they don't realize is, guess what? If it's on the internet, it's there forever. So guess what? Your ancestors are going to see you busted open. Why? But we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about the operation to feminize men, little boys. Come on now. Little John is acting like little Sarah. Why? Because little John don't have a man in his life. So I blame you women for that. But if you don't know who you are, can you expect him to know him? Who am I talking to? But you're not going to get that moral support because your girlfriends ain't going to tell you the truth. They're not going to say, well, you know what? He needs to be with his father. And I know there's some situations where it's a thief in the night. He told you everything you wanted to hear, just to open the golden gates. But little did you know, he came with a skeleton key. And as you thought you got away with it, he was like, you can run as far as you want. You are forever connected to me because we have them. Who am I talking to? So think about it. If people saw their worth and they saw their value, why would we need illustration on a TV near you that shows bad behavior? Maury Povich wouldn't make no money if we had it together. How about Bill Cunningham? But here's the funny thing about that for y'all. Wendy Williams, Bill Cunningham, Maury Povich. You don't never see non-minorities like in the Asian community. You don't see little Ling Ming talking about who's my daddy. You don't see Messiah from that's Indian descent talking about, well, I was busting it open. I got with Manny Mo and Jack. Nah, because they know the reality is if you don't respect yourself, we gonna disown you. They not doing that. But here's something about them, even our own that are from African descent. I'm talking about the Nigerians. I'm talking about the Somalis and those who have come to the U.S. to educate them, because you do understand education in the States is far cheaper than over there. So they get to cash in on benefits that were already given to us anyway as U.S. citizens. But you know what the commonality amongst those people are, including the Asians, the Jewish. They are already instilled at a young age not to be the employee, but to be the employer. Who am I talking to? So you don't get no victim card on that. Now, you're going through some setbacks right now. Your money ain't right. Your money funny. Okay. Well, guess what? It's going to stay funny until you decide to be honest with yourself. Look at how it got there and who was there. Now look at who's in your life right now and the influence that they got on you. If you see a commonality right there, you're looking at the table. And on that table is a bowl of misery waiting for you to lap it up. That's not your story. Now, I'm going to bring this home. For those who think that there's no good men, the devil's a liar. I'm one of them. But I'm going to tell you what's going on, because I know a lot of women will have this position that there ain't no good men, Gerald. That's because your perception and your environment doesn't foster good men. Because these people don't have relationships with God first. Your blessings, if you walking in denial, don't work like that. You can't ask. That's just like somebody saying, hey, here's some seeds, here's some soil, go plant these seeds, and in the intended time and moment your harvest will come, which will bear good fruit. So what's going on is this: the good men that you secretly desire, because I know deep down inside, that's why you got that drawer, because you're thinking about them good guys that you wish you had in your life. And that's the reason why you're angry, because you're not taking accountability for your choices yet. You're afraid. You're afraid to be you. But I'm going to tell you what's really going on, so that you understand from a man's point of view, a spiritual man. Queens, hear my words. A good man is not going to check for Shay Shay. And what I mean, Shay Shay, is you don't respect yourself. So if you are walking around with the traits of a woman that walks the night, guess what? You're not going to get our entertainment. You're not going to get our time. And more importantly, you will not inherit the right to have our last name. And that's what's going on. How about our seed? That's why it was written in the Bible the way it was. Do not try to yoke with unyoked. Because two people going in different directions can't go forward. So why are you living in the past when your steps are guiding you forward? Why? Because you're waiting on little man to get it together? No, let me tell you something. Until little man decides to love himself, place God first in front of everything he does, he is going to be in that sea of lost people. Because guess what? Pain does not discriminate, it sustains, which goes back to what I said before. If your mind's not right, you're not going to make sound decisions for you. How about your tomorrow? You do know you have a legacy, right? Your struggle is occurring because you are not going with the divine order. That's why when I laugh when I see women try to act like men. So let's throw that out there. When I hear a woman that's outspoken, I know that ain't nothing but passion. That's also a nonverbal way from her body language that, hey, I need to be loved. I need to feel emotionally safe. Someone love me. But you can't turn around and say someone. You want the one. Because guess what? That devil's sitting right there like, oh, really? That's what you want? Okay. Coming up. Bam. And here comes in your new pain. Who am I talking to? He looked like he fell right out of a magazine until he started putting his hands around you, until he started doing things to you that you thought you would never thought you would go through because your ego and pride said, I'll never do that. But guess what? You're doing it twice on Sunday without rest. Why? I'm not making fun of that. What is being revealed is people are either your lesson or your blessing. You got to choose on how you want to see it. But it's not your responsibility to guide somebody by their teeth. Why you got to get them to respect you? You respect yourself first. So why you there? Why you there? Huh? Maybe that's the reason why you're going through hardships right now, because you somewhere you shouldn't have been. I know somebody's like looking over there, somebody laying on the bed, sleep. Y'all done got it in, but it feel numb now, don't it? It feel like a chore now, don't it? Your skin crawl, but you struggling because you know that that's what it took to get the reality you in. Meanwhile, everybody on the outside think you got it going on, but little do they know you are doing time. You are doing time inside your mind because now your environment has become your prison. Who am I talking to? You can turn it around. You can turn it around. My queens, I can't stress this so much more than I have. I blame you. I blame you just as much as I blame the men. You are defiling yourself, and the impact is it is setting our children up to fail. Does it surprise you now that parents are burying their kids at alarming rates? I'm sick and tired of it being splashed on the TV, in media. Another parent has killed their kids. It seems like every month there's a parent killing their kids. Really? How selfish can you be? You are killing you because they're the extension of you. And they are only acting what they see in their environment. So if you're doing this, or you are being abusive, guess what? You are teaching them that is normal to do. I would not wish that on any parent, that a parent has to bury their children. But here's the problem I see. I see this all the time. Why is it the media has no problem? They'll put that mama out there. She got that wig cocked. Her heart is broken. And the first thing that comes out of her mouth was, that's not my son. That's not my son. And she tries to put the victim card on. But listen, everybody knew your son. And maybe the innocence that you knew him to be is what you wanted to hold on to because you didn't want to see the truth that you failed as a parent. I'm saying this out of love. Come on now. Now, there was some injustices that have taken place. No, I can't deny that. But come on. Little man, 13 years old, armed to the teeth. What do you think is going to come out to that? He ain't in the military, but he died by the hands of a gun. The Bible even said that. Those who live by the sword die by the sword. Cause and effect. The energy you put out is what you want to attract back. That's why we know it as generational curses. If little Sarah saw you, Mom, all you did was sit around, complain, did not empower yourself, and all you did was generate siblings after siblings after siblings, well, guess what? She's gonna think I'm supposed to have children after child after child after child. But you got to dig a little deeper, because what's really going on is a belief system that if I have this child, I'm gonna have you. But the reality is, you have a lot of men that are treating their sperm with the same respect as a wet napkin. Once I use it, I'm gone. Meanwhile, there's somebody sitting in the cut saying, I get to exploit you because I'm putting you on TV for the whole world to see that you ain't got it together. And it's gotten so bad that with these fraternity shows, why is it that you have to get someone to tell you what you should already know? Why is that? For a little bit of 2 seconds of notoriety, huh? You don't know who was between your legs, huh? That's why the promiscuous woman gets left behind to drown in her own sorrows. That's why it said a defiled bed is not blessed. Come on. So maybe that's the reason why you don't see any good men. It's not that they're not there. It's not until you decide to love yourself. How can you call yourself a strong woman if you don't love yourself first? But the ironic part is when God will bless you with a person that will just stand there and uplift you to be the best you. And what do? You think they're weak because they loving you. They supporting you. They give the greatest sacrifice they could, their time. How about their money? Newsflash, queens, the list and the line of good men is very short. But it's even shorter if they're spiritual. So when that man comes along and loves you unconditionally, loves your kids that are not his, but yet you give your heart and time to a little man who disrespects you, he runs up in everything like it's the 7-Eleven. He got your legs open, cocked back. How about your rectum? This real talk, y'all. This is going on. That's the reason why HIV and AIDS is so high and prevalent in the female community. Don't sleep on that Zika, because that Zika is going to mess up a lot of people. Now, I'm going to get off of that. I've said enough. If you don't like how you're being treated, then you change what's going on inside of you. The price is you ain't going to be able to walk with those people because those people are banking that you won't. They're banking that you will be just like them. Huh? You putting up with somebody that is doing this.
Keep telling me that you ain't no good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He been married, still married. And you think he gonna marry you for real? He ain't leaving. He ain't leaving his wife. That's why you get no reward being the concubine, the kept woman. A kept woman is a kept dream, unfulfilled. Oh yeah, he ain't leaving you. I don't know why you even let him in your life. Because if he had a relationship with God first, he wouldn't have been there anyway. But see, people come in your life to be your lesson and blessing. I keep telling you, and I can't. Come on now, you with him because of how he popped your string. Imagine what a spiritual man can do if he loved you. If he knows the responsibility of the greatest task, and that's his heart, your heart. He got it. He claims you. He claims you because he wants to build the other side of your life. But Mr. No Good, you'd be lucky you make it to the sunrise. And that's the reason why you're mad now, because you won't admit that you chose someone that cannot grow. Until you decide to own your fears. That's the only way you can change them. And the only way you can be able to change them is you have to have the ability to go inside yourself. How about have that conversation with God? Speak that. You can speak everything else that ain't working. Why won't you speak what's broken? And watch what he show you. Because misery loves company, y'all. That's a table that always have room for one more. Maybe you ain't supposed to be on that table. Maybe that ain't the environment you should have been with no longer. Maybe you're supposed to get up. You ain't supposed to be scratching your head talking about, did I just hear that? Yeah, you heard that. They talking reckless. And guess what? You exhibit it through your behavior because you're allowing them to do it. But you know what? God has a way. And let me listen, and I'm gonna shut up. Let me make this clear. God gets tired too. He do. And what'll end up happening? He will turn around and say, I know you're not. And guess what? He will step away and let everything that he was protecting you from, he'll let you deal with it. And ain't nothing more painful is to watch your blessings entitled by your name come to pass to be fulfilled by someone else. Who am I talking to? If you was happy, why would you have that drawer over there? You would have him. Who am I talking to? See your worth. Speak your truth. Place God first in everything you do. But if you are been blessed to earn the right to be called mother, do not destroy your children's destiny. Do not do that. You got a lot of women out here that just selfish. You got people in your life once again trying to support you. What do? You take the money and spend it on yourself. So you wonder why Johnny's tipping through windows, why he breaking in cars. So it doesn't surprise you why you see that crime tape? Think about all those conversations you have with his father. How about that man of influence that God showed you and said, you know what? Let me take care of him. You get yourself together. Regardless if it was a relationship or not, maybe platonically, that spiritually God guided this person in your life to help you. How about protect you from you? Free will is one thing, but being a victim is another. You got to make a decision what you want, what you need. But it does not matter until you know you. You will never know where you're going. So claim your life back. I hope you guys have a blessed weekend. If you're feeling what I'm saying, give me a thumbs up. Of course, share my videos. Each one teach one. If there's someone that you may know that might need to hear this video. If you got any questions and concerns, by all means, drop me a line below. Do not worry about your anonymity because all comments are filtered and will not be posted unless they have been approved by myself. As I always say, God is praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, it helps me discern mine. Your life is priceless, y'all. There'll never be another one like it. And when you decide to ground your feet, look that person in the mirror who is the keeper of your dreams, not your secret. It will be then you will see how beautiful you were the whole time. Love to hear from you. Be safe out there, y'all. Enjoy your weekend. But of course, be blessed.